Hi, everybody. Welcome to Cox Connections. Brad Grundmeyer, Director of Public and Government Affairs for Cox, Louisiana. Thank you so much for tuning into our show. In this segment, we're going to be talking to our great friends at East Jefferson General Hospital, particularly in the EMS department, about what is really, it's the summer months in New Orleans, and we're looking at everything that goes with it. A lot of kids are at home, of course, for the summer, and they're outside, playing out there in the heat, and we need to, as parents, but more so for ourselves as well, because the heat is here, that we need to take care of ourselves, and more so are we heart ready for that. And there's a lot of things that the American Heart Association have put together to kind of educate us. So Mike Guillot, is that right? Guillot?
Right.
Did that right? Okay. Is the Director of EMS at East Jefferson General Hospital, and Mike was kind enough to come by because you see it a lot, Mike. I'm sure you see it time and time again. We were just talking a little bit about my son, at the beach last year. Thought he was hydrated, thought he had fluids in him, but ended up getting dehydrated. We had to bring him to Children's Hospital. I'm sure you see that this time of year, time and time again.
We certainly do. Summertime brings on a number of heat-related emergencies, and we see it from very, very young to the elderly. So it's from athletes to people who are not athletes. So it runs the whole spectrum of the population. Nobody is immune from a heat-related.
How does we're in and out of the house, but more so when we're out in the heat, cutting the grass, doing gardening, whatever, kids playing sports, etc. How is the heat? What is its effects on the heart?
Well, it's very simple. You circulate in blood volume. What does your body do when you start to exercise or you're cutting grass or something like that? You sweat, and that's your body's natural cooling mechanism. Right. But as you sweat, you're losing fluid, and that's your circulating volume. Your heart pumps your circulating volume. So you lose your circulating volume, a number of things could start to happen. You start getting a little weaker. In order to keep your circulating volume or your blood pressure the same, very simple mechanics. What happens? Your heart beats faster, your heart rate goes up. To keep your blood pressure up. But at a certain point, your body gets to a point where it can't compensate by elevating the heart rate or other things, and your blood pressure kind of may drop. And that's when you start to see some problems from heat exhaustion. And then, of course, the worst of it is heat stroke.
Yeah, and what I've often heard of as far as hydration is concerned, if you think you're thirsty, if you think you're getting dehydrated, you're already beyond that. I mean, you should really be very proactive about it. Don't wait till you start feeling thirsty.
Correct. If you're thirsty, you're behind the 8 ball.
Yeah,
so
right.
You'll see athletes that prepare to run, say just something as simple as the Crescent City Classic or something such as that. The athletes who are in it to really maybe perhaps get a great time, those guys and ladies, they're hydrating themselves days before the event, not just the morning of the event. Hey, let me eat an extra banana and drink an extra water.
Right.
You have to keep yourself hydrated continuously. So very, very important. Keep drinking plenty fluids.
What precautions should someone take during this time of the year, particularly in the summer?
Well, first of all, and I guess kind of related, sunscreen is very important.
Yeah.
That's another whole topic in itself. But hydrate yourself. Protect yourself from the sun. The UV radiation takes its toll on you, but the hydration is very, very important. Just constantly, just drinking water. A lot of people take medications and may not realize a lot of the cardiac medications that they take, sometimes the diuretics, some of the hypertensive medications.
The heat's effect on that.
Exactly, and if you're dehydrated and you're taking these medications, it just compounds it. So you have to be very aware, speak with your pharmacist, your physician. Know that if you're taking something that can be enhanced,
because of the heat, don't do so.
Don't do so.
And then also, I guess you should think, you got to think smart. Could my activity that I want to do be prolonged, maybe, or at least postponed to maybe later in the day? Like if you're going to cut the grass, 6:30 these days seems like the best time of day. So be sensible as to when you're going to, don't put yourself out there in the middle of the day if you don't have to.
Common sense always comes into play.
Yeah.
If you're not the hottest hour of the day, you shouldn't be exercising, or now is not the time.
Even though I see people, Mike, all the time, and I'm thinking, they're in great shape, but really, do you really need to go run out at 2 o'clock in the afternoon and do
let
that?
me tell you, we see some very serious emergencies. I won't forget a couple of years ago, I had an athlete at Lafayette Park, and this young boy was an athlete running, and the heat index is probably up over 100 degrees late in the afternoon. So you have to use common sense, even if you're in prime shape and hydrated, you have to use common sense in our weather.
Another good thing is dress for the heat. Obviously, you should always wear a hat, but there are great materials today. Unlike when we were younger, maybe, but cotton shirts aren't necessarily the thing to go, or these days. Cotton, of course, are better, but there are great dry fit shirts and stuff that probably allows your body to breathe better than the shirts that we grew up with.
They just help your body's natural perspiration cooling system work more efficiently.
Nice part, we talked about choosing early morning or late evening to do so. Drink up, we talked about, but more so take breaks. If you're outside, obviously enjoy the weather for a little bit, but get in the shade, get back in the house, cool yourself down.
Pace yourself, hydrate yourself, enjoy the great outdoors. We have, this is a great time down here in the South, but we certainly have to pace ourselves and be aware that the heat can sneak up on you.
Mike, tell me this. We hear a lot about heat exhaustion and heat stroke. Tell me what's the difference. What's first, or one before the other, and what are telltale signs?
First of all, initially you start to get a little thirsty. Heat exhaustion kind of comes up on you. You're still sweating. You're kind of tired. You feel your heart racing. Your blood pressure may start to drop a little bit. You may have nausea, vomiting. You just don't feel good. It kind of advances there to where you may become a little sluggish, lethargic, not really responding well. And then it kind of progresses to heat stroke.
Right, which
heat stroke is very serious because there, your body no longer is sweating. Your skin is hot, red. You're not sweating. Your cooling mechanism for your body has been lost. Your core temperature now starts to rise.
Right.
So now we go from our ideal 98.6 to 103, 104, 105. When you start getting to those levels of temperature, that's life-threatening. Your brain is literally being cooked. You're subject to seizures, unconsciousness. A very, very serious medical emergency, and those patients need to be cooled immediately. It really can, and it can progress quickly to heat stroke. So you need to catch somebody when they're at that heat exhaustion, slow them down, rehydrate them if you can.
Right.
They may or may not be able to take it orally. They may need to seek, EMS or emergency room intervention with intravenous fluids. But when they progress into that heat stroke, don't ever hesitate to call, get help, get us out there, let us take a look at the patient. And they may be an athlete, there may be somebody who's not an athlete, anybody. Let us take a look at them.
Absolutely, and the symptoms for heat exhaustion, heavy sweating, clammy skin, dizzying or fainting, a weak and rapid pulse, muscle cramps, fast, shallow breathing, nausea, those are what you should be looking for, because you don't want to get to that next stage.
Any combination of those things, those are serious warning signs that something you need to put it in check, hydrate them, or it's going to progress.
And if that doesn't sustain itself, call EMS, do the right thing.
Emergency room. Don't hesitate to call us.
Don't have any regrets.
Not at all. That's what we're there for.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Mike. Again, the American Heart Association has some great stuff on their website. If you can go to www.heart.org, really one of the best websites out there. Information about heat exhaustion, heat stroke, what you should do for the summer. So if you want to learn more and more so educate your children on the area of heat stroke and heat exhaustion and how to be sensible and smart as you enjoy the great outdoors in the summer, go to heart.org for more information. Mike Guillot, thank you so much for your work that you do at the EMS at East Jefferson General Hospital. We were 27 years, we were saying that? Amazing. We greatly appreciate it, and thank you so much for coming by today.
Well, thank you for having us.
Good information. Thanks, Mike. All right, everybody, that wraps it up for this segment of Cox Connections. We'll be back and see you next time. Thanks for watching.